button, like you got to be ready to run it, bro. Like, there's no playing with this stuff. Oh man, I appreciate y'all that's gonna be checking in and watching this back. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. We are the biggest, by the way. We're bigger than everybody. I don't know why my gotta do push-ups. I'm saying gotta do push-ups. Today is a good we got interesting topics not only later today, but I got something that I want to talk about real quick. Because I figured it out. I finally get it. I get it. I get the answer now. Like, I understand, like, what this is all about, you know? I understand what this is all about. What's going on, Cal? It's nice to see you here. I appreciate you being here, dog. I didn't expect anybody to be here, so it's nice to see you. But I finally figured it out, bro. And for those of y'all that's gonna be watching this back, I figured it out. I did the work for y'all. Y'all don't have to do the work anymore. I mean, you can read if you want to. Read what I read, and what I, and do the work that I've been doing to come to this conclusion that I came to. But I finally came to this conclusion, and I finally understand what's going on in the world now. And what I finally understand, what conclusion I finally then came to now, is that this country, this new world, this Western civilization, this new world was never intended to be for anybody else but the white upper class man. Like, I knew that for a long time, and I understood it for a long time, but I didn't really I can't say I understood it. I knew it, and I knew to use it, like, education wise, but I didn't like relate to it. Like, I didn't understand why they felt the way that they felt. You know, like, why do they actually believe this? Like, like, why? What's the problem? You know, like, what's really the problem? But after today, after like 30 minutes ago, I finally got the download, and I finally understand why these people think that the way that they do. The reason that these people think the way that they do, the reason that we got a January 6th rioters and things like that against democracy and stuff like that. The reason why we get, reason why we have such horrible race relations historically in this country. The reason why this country is, just on a downward trend and a downward spiral, is because this country was never intended for anybody else outside of the white American, outside of the white man. This country was only intended for the white upper class man. What's up, everybody? I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to double tap the screen, like, comment, share, subscribe. We are the biggest, by the way. I finally figured it out. And for those of y'all that's going to be watching this back, I finally figured it out. I get it now. I get it. Because I used to have these philosophical debates, not only with myself, but then also with different races of people. And like, why is, like, why are we, by and large, why are colored people treated this way, and then other people are treated this way? Like, why is it like that? Why is it like that? I didn't understand it. I get it now. I swear I do. And here's where I'm getting this from. About 2 weeks ago, in Dearborn County, Michigan, there was a city council meeting that went viral because of the introduction of it was just a street named after a Muslim reporter who had passed away. And the Muslim reporter had, different communities are getting like more airtime now with their civil rights stuff, because by and large, the Black community has taken a step back from civil rights as far as being in the forefront of taking all the punches and all the bullets and all the insults and all the jail time. We've kind of taken a step back, and other communities have kind of had to do their own work now. So what's going on in this particular community is, they wanted to name the street after this Muslim reporter, and of course the whites didn't like it. The whites that really represent this country didn't like it. And normally I wouldn't. Normally I would go. Yeah, I like it with that. What y'all think? Nope, can't see my face. All right, cool. Normally Normally I would go all in on this topic, or I would be like, see, this is why, blah 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 blah. But now I'm kind of just approaching this from a logical standpoint. These people are behaving this way and they're acting this way, by and large, because this country has always been this way. This country has never not been this way. And the fact that we pretend as if we're in some post-racial utopia, or as if the United States is a post-racial utopia, it's just a fallacy. It's a fallacy being a lie. It's not true, and it's not what this country was intended to be set up for. So the question I just asked myself, and I've been asking myself this by and large for like the last I've been asking myself this philosophical question for the last 2 months, for sure. For the last year, for most of my life, but really, really seeking an answer to why this country is like this and why these people think like this. Hey, how you doing, guys? Welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to double tap the screen, like, comment, share, subscribe. We are the biggest, by the way. I go by the name Solarman, so it's appreciate having you guys here. But anyways, let me get back to the point. I figured out racism. I get it, especially in the West. I understand it. I get it. This country was never intended to be for anybody else other than white men. Like, I get it. And for anybody to act like that it was intended to be for somebody else is a fallacy. It's not true. It's a lie. And the reason that I'm getting to this conclusion is one, because this country was founded by Freemasonic, non-denominational, non-Christian, um, 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 white men, upper class, aristocratic type white men, and they founded the country, the United States. They didn't find the country. They kind of assimilated into a culture that was already here, and then they just through disease and through lies and manipulation, they gained higher ground and more numbers over decades in this land. But primarily speaking, dog, this country was never meant for anybody else but white people, white men specifically. So when I look out and I see the race relations that's going on, and I look out and I see where we're at as a people, where we're at as a country, I understand it and it makes sense. Now back to the video that I saw. Yo, I don't iPhones no more. Like, I don't understand. But anyways, back to the video and the stuff that I saw. Um, Again, it was a it was a city council meeting that was in Dearborn County, Michigan, and in that city council meeting, uh, they were mad. It was primarily the district was this primarily the city council meeting had like one black dude in it, and the black dude in it was like he doesn't represent my people. He doesn't represent how I think. He doesn't represent how I feel about stuff. He was more so with the white outright nationalist guy who was mad. Let me just tell you what happened. Again, it was a city council meeting in Dearborn County, Michigan, and they were protesting. Where there was a city council meeting gathered because they had named the street sign, just a street sign, just one street, and one street sign after a Muslim journalist who had died. So what's going on, boss? These January 6th rioters, and one of whom showed up in a tactical vest. You can Google this for yourself. He showed up in a tactical vest, and he basically expressed how Muslims, I'm gonna go ahead and say this for him. He didn't say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it for him. He basically said how Muslims don't represent, basically anybody that's not a white man doesn't represent this country. This country was founded for white men. This country was founded for the perpetuity, meaning for future generations, for white men. That's what this country was founded for white men. And the old me would have debated with him about that, even though I've said that's what this country was founded for. But I understand it now. I get it now. Like, I really, 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 really get it now. What he was saying is true. This country was founded for white men. This country was founded only for white men. This country was not founded for anybody else outside of white men. So why are we other races getting upset when they come against anything that's not in the interest of white men? I get it. I get what they're saying. Yo, America was founded for the interests and for the what's the word? For the for the for the the grace of the white race, specifically white men. That's what this country was founded for. That's it and that's all. That's all that this country was founded for. That's it and that's all. It was not founded for any other reason than for white men. So when I came to this conclusion, I was like, okay, if that's the case, then what are we doing now? Like what's going on now? All right, this is what's going on now. What's going on now is that even though that that the founding fathers and these people who the silent white majority that votes for Trump and that votes for Ronald Reagan and that votes to end, that voted, against integration and just, that's a different topic. But I'm just saying the silent white majority that is the majority of this country. What we're doing now is that they built their castle on sand. Even though this country was only founded for white men, that model was never stable. There's no stability in a homogenous society, meaning a society that looks one way, thinks one way, and usually, acts one way. Like, kind of like Japan or something like that. You know what I mean? Just to like put it into perspective. You know what I'm saying? So this homogenous society was never built, was never, there was no solid foundations for it to exist. You know what I mean? There was no solid foundations for it to exist. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and, I don't got that many people in here, but I'm not like, I'm not doing that, bro. Watch out. Just watch out, dog. Just watch out. Built this country and are the greatest inventors. Smart brother. African Americans built the country and are the greatest inventors to date. Right on, dog. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let me cook a little bit. Let me. So I'm at point A right now. That's like point C. I'm at point A. This country was only meant for white men, right? So we understand that point. Cool. But then when we fast forward, it's kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on right now? This is what's going on right now. What's going on right now is that there has to be what's called a reckoning, meaning like there has to be a confrontation that's had with said society because it's not built on anything stable. There is no stability in having one race be the divine author of a country that wasn't that was never. There's no stability in just having one race in charge of anything, because the one race that was supposed to be in charge of everything, that is supposed to be in charge of the known new world, they have never successfully built anything on their own recognizance. So what am I saying in simple words? In simple words, they never built anything themselves to have the right to say that this is just us for us. They never done anything themselves. They've never done anything not once themselves. And this is not a racial debate. This is a fact. So what am I getting that from? I'm getting up to the African American crises. Where I'm getting this from is that even if you go back to the Industrial Revolution, where Europe came out of the Dark Ages because they were doing trains and they were doing stuff like that, the Industrial Revolution came from studying ancient Kemet and from studying ancient Greece, which ancient Greece studied ancient Kemet. So all this stuff points back to melanated architecture and melanated works that just got reintroduced into a new society and repackaged and repurposed into a new society. These people didn't come up with any ideas. They've never came up with their own ideas. So, and again, I'm not saying that as a down to the white race. I'm just saying that as a matter of fact. They never came up with their own ideas. So since they've never came up with their own ideas, it is asinine or is backwards to say or to suggest that you should only have a country that's meant for you, by you. I can give you another example. France. You know how France looks so cool, and we think of France as just being so culturally abundant and stuff like that. France right now is on the decline, and so is a lot of Europe is on the decline because a lot of African nations that they built their infrastructure on, that they built their economy on, is removing there is removing the colonial strongholds that they had in their country, meaning they kicking out the white folks in their country and they're taking back their own industry. So since they're taking back their own industry, Europe is falling. Europe is dying. That's just one way Europe is dying. So I bring that and I relate that to America because they have never done anything for themselves by themselves. So it would be asinine, again, asinine meaning backwards. It would be backwards to suggest or to think that they could have a country that's just only meant for them. And so their issue with the world and with society right now is that they built the country in theory only for them, but the maintenance of that idea, the maintenance of their dream is crumbling in their faces because the world is just doing what it always will do, and it has always done, and it's just resetting or it's just going back to default mode, which is colored or which is black or which is brown. That's what the world does, and that's what the world will do because that's what the world is. The world is black and brown, so the world would always go back to being black and brown. So before I keep moving on, let me make sure I read y'all comments. I'm a white man. There's two different types of white man. I don't disagree with you. There's different types of everybody. So I'm probably not talking about you. You know what I mean? There's different types of everybody for sure. For sure. There's different types of everybody. There's different types of black people. Like how I just mentioned that there was a black guy at that city council meeting who does not represent my interests, my thoughts. He does not align with me. But what they'll do is this type of white man that I'm talking about, the one with the tactical vest that is against anybody who isn't a straight white Christian man, they'll align themselves with a black face to suggest that they are or that they're racially non-prejudiced. You know, so yeah, I'm definitely aware that all people aren't a monolith together. You feel me? I definitely feel that for sure. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that for sure, and I'll get more into that in just a second. Do you believe in desegregation? No, because that's also backwards. Like that's also stupid. You know what I mean? Like I debate often. Like I'm not a black supremacist. You know what I mean? I'm not a nation of Islam. You know what I mean? I'm not that. You feel me? Because I understand that doesn't lead to anything prosperous. That doesn't lead to anything of actual. There's no practicality in that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not doable. You feel me? Like I'm actually like, I'm kind of like a businessman too. So like I think about shit that can actually get done. Stuff, excuse my language. I think about stuff that can actually get done. And there's nothing that can get done in desegregating by race. That's kind of like the most archaic caveman shit. I gotta cuss. That's like the most archaic shit that you can do. You know what I mean? Like I'm aware of that. So it's not practical. It's not doable. These are a few reasons that it's not doable. It's not doable, one, because we're already too interbred. So that's just the obvious reason. And then the second reason would be, let me slow down my speech. The second reason would be because it's not logical either. You know what I'm saying? We get more done when we put all of the heads together to build something. I'm not talking about a new world order, where we're all one under Satan. I'm not talking like that, because that's how they're going to try to package it. Follow me. That's how they're going to try to package it. But what I'm talking about is that there's nothing practical about living in the same building, but separating ourselves because we look different. What's going to end up happening is that somebody who can get along is going to come in and burn the whole house down. That's just like what Abraham Lincoln said in his address, in the State of the Union address. A house divided cannot stand. It's obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like that's obvious. You feel me? So it can't happen like that. It won't happen like that. It can't happen like that. It'll never be like that. By the way, Abraham Lincoln did not fight to free the slaves. We've been taught a lie. The North did not fight to free the slaves. We've been taught a lie. Slaves freed themselves essentially by a great flight, a great slave migration from the South to the North. Read the Black Reconstruction by W.E.B. Du Bois, and that'll let you know about what I'm talking about. So, anyways, history is a farce, history is a lie. But outside of that, I get why we're in this predicament in relation to just like a Trump, why we got a Trump, why we got why it is like the way it is, because we've been acting like we're supposed to get along, and we have never been supposed to get along because it was never intended for us to get along. You feel me? That's what that's about. Yep, I agree. We just had to clarify. Right on, dog. I feel you. I appreciate you being here, though. I appreciate anybody who takes time out of their day and out of this crazy, wicked matrix that we find ourselves in to tune in and have a good conversation. So I appreciate you and everybody else for tuning in and checking in. For those of y'all that's gonna be watching this back, I appreciate y'all being here as well. We are the biggest, by the way. So yeah. So that brings me to what the heck we're doing here in the first place. You feel me? What we're doing here in the first place is, again, we're living off of borrowed time, right? Because this country was never intended for anybody else other than the upper elite white man. That was never built on anything solid, right? That's why, like, Thomas Jefferson, George Bush, and all of these guys, they kind of came from like the same four families. You know what I mean? When they migrated over here from Europe, they were all from like the same four families. I don't know if y'all knew that. They all of these people were related. They all knew each other, or they were only not they were only separated by like one or two generations of people. You know what I'm saying? So since they were all related, they kind of like one. It's kind of like America is kind of like a retreat. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the George Bush, Thomas Jefferson, all the founding fathers, they were kind of like nepo babies. Nepotism being like motherfuckers who never had to work for anything. So they were kind of like nepo babies who got sent. They got cast out. They were like, you know what? I don't want to listen to dad anymore, or in this case, the queen anymore. I don't want to listen to the crown anymore. So I'm gonna just go over here where it's a bunch of black people at, and I'm gonna go fuck with them, because we can get away with that. You know what I mean? So, not to say that the crown wasn't doing that as well. I know I'm going fast, y'all, but I'm getting these thoughts out as I hear them. I'm gonna slow it down again. But essentially, what we're doing here is that this country was never going to last, can never last, because it was never built on anything solid. So the reason that we have race relations, the reason that we can't seem to find a common page, the reason why white America has not, will not, and will never repent for their sins or never monetarily pay for their sins is because they never intended to have this conversation in the first place. And the people that like the guy at the city council meeting, what I'm saying, with the bulletproof vest on and shit, and talking about how he, it's a lot of whites that do this too. And again, it's blacks that do it, it's Mexicans that do it, it's people that identify with this rhetoric, not knowing that they were never invited to the table in the get-go, including the guy with the security vest on. Like, even him, he was never invited to the table in the get-go. The upper class whites do not care about him at all, but he's too ignorant to even see that for himself. But anyways, I'll get there. This country will not last, and you can mark my words. This country will not last, cannot last, has not really been abundant as it could be, because we were never supposed to get along. And the thing about the American dream is that it's just that it was built on a dream, the dream that all men could find divine bliss if they just work hard enough. If you just put, they call it, they told slaves to do this. They told slaves to pick themselves up by their bootstrap and, stop being lazy and build something for themselves. That is the American dream. That is the American belief that if you are strong enough and if you are persistent enough, and if you don't make any excuses, and if you take life by the you know what I mean? If you grab life and you take a hold of your own destiny, that you can be a millionaire. You can have your 40 acres and a mule, which was something that was promised to slaves, but it was later taken away because slaves still have been viewed as 1/5 of a human being. So I'm gonna slow it down some more. The reason that we're in this position now is because we were never meant to get along. I'm gonna stay on that point. We were never meant to get along. It was never meant for us to get along. We were never meant to understand each other because there was nothing to understand. From the original inception of this country, it was already understood that, hey, this is for me and anybody else, fuck you. That's what this country was founded on. This country was founded on fuck you energy. This country was founded on, hey, if you are a straight white, and the reason that these alt-right white nationals have this sentiment fucked up is because they assume that their Christian identity is something that the founding fathers would have agreed with. And the founding fathers were not Christian by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. The founding fathers were actually vehemently opposed to traditional religion, and were more aligned with the ideals of like Aleister Crowley, however you pronounce the last name, even though that they were before him. But I'm just saying, like, they were more like with that type of energy, other than like a Christian identity. There's nothing Christian about the founding of this nation. There's nothing Christian about America. Nothing. So I don't understand where these white folks, black too, I don't understand where these conservatives get this Christian identity from. And furthermore, I'm curious as to would they still be Christian? Would they follow Jesus if they knew what if they believed what he really looked like and what he really stood for? I don't think many of these Christians, I think many of these Christians will kill themselves if they understood what Jesus really looked like. Either they kill themselves or they will try to kill Jesus because he's a nigga or he looked like a nigga. So, anyways, to surmise the first point, which is that this country was never intended to be for anybody else other than the upper class white man. That's just that. The reason that we find ourselves in a position to where it seems like no matter what we do as a country, no matter what year you want to call it, 2025, 2026, 2030, no matter what year it is, we're always going to be in a state of figuring this out because we never really addressed the original conversation, which is, hey, this place is for white people only. You know that, right? And furthermore, you also know that we're paying attention to like our birth rate and stuff like that too. Like, we don't really breed successfully like the other races. So we need to go to a place where we can like separate ourselves and we can try to like breed ourselves back into and breed ourselves to stay on top. So what am I talking about too? Back in the early 1800s, 1700s, it's theorized or it's reported that the world, or that the country at least, was about 30 to 40% white. Nowadays, it's purported that the country is about 7% white. That's what they say. They feel as though, I'm just telling you the thought process of a white nationalist. They feel as though that they are discriminated against and that they are being, that they are the victims of what's called, I don't even know the correct way to pronounce it or say it, but they feel like they're being outbred. They feel like that they're being discriminated against because their birth rates are low and it takes 2 white people to make a white baby, but it only takes 1 brown person to make a brown baby. You know what I mean? So they feel as though it is their divine right to protect their birthright, to protect their bloodline. And you know what? I used to be like kind of like against like understanding that. I used to be like kind of like I didn't feel that, I didn't get it, but I get it now. I understand it now. I understand why you are. I understand why you have so much. I'm talking to that outwardly prejudiced, racially biased, bigoted a white man and woman. I understand why you guys are so prejudiced, why you guys are so hateful, why you guys are so racist, why you guys are so much against my people in particular, why you guys are so much against progress, why you guys are so much against anything of logic, why you guys are so, why you have to rewrite history, why you have to lie, why you have to steal, why you have to rape, why you have to hijack culture. I get it. I get it because it's an insecurity thing. You are not secure in your own DNA enough to just be still, and that's unfortunate for you. It is unfortunate for you. It's unfortunate for you because um, I do believe that nature has its way of protecting its own interest. I think that if you stare at a problem hard enough, long enough, and you put your hands on it strong enough, and if you try to strangle the problem and you try to control the issue with your own strength, I think that you inevitably you dig yourself into your own grave. Is what I'm saying. Like if you try to change, like how they try to rewrite history and make everything look white, or make themselves the benefiters or the creators of everything that is of modern history, when we all know that that's logically false and is narratively false, because even down to the light bulb in the filament that causes the light bulb to turn on has been created by people of color. Um, when you understand all that, you realize that only through insecurity does someone need to change everything, even down to how we practice medicine, even down to how we vote. Like only through insecurity does someone change everything like that. So, what's the solution? The solution is, which for me, the solution has always been, and I've spoken about this before. For me, the solution has always been Um, except now I don't necessarily welcome in. I appreciate you being here. I don't necessarily agree with debating anymore. I used to be a great debater. You know what I mean? Like that's what I did in high school. That's what I did in middle school. That's what I did when I was in pre-law. Like I was a debater, you know. But now I'm realizing that there's no debating with someone whose idea is still set up on the preconceived notion that this country was only meant for them. There's no debating with that. There's no convincing them otherwise. Because to convince them otherwise would be to suggest that I don't care about their bloodline purity, that I don't care about the purity of their bloodline, which is their most concern. Their most concern is the purity of their bloodline. And I understand that now. So since I understand that, let me just disengage. I'm disengaged now. There is no hope for this country in that regard. The only hope for this country is to keep moving forward towards a collective reckoning of we're just going to keep moving forward despite that. That's the only hope for the country. But to say that we're going to fix race relations is never going to happen because one, on the white side, they're never going to apologize because again, to apologize would be to suggest that they're no longer interested in the protection of their bloodline. And then on the black side, we're never going to, I'm speaking for myself and people that think like me. I'm never going to accept just an apology. I don't care about your words. I don't care about your feelings. I care about monetary value because that's all we value in capitalism. This is a capitalistic society. Pay me my money that you owe. So there's never going to be an outright payment for that because we've seen that throughout the decades. And we've also seen that certain other racial groups have been paid, but the reason that they got paid is because they more identify and they're more closer to and they're more likely to assimilate with white culture other than black culture. That's the Asian culture, that's the Jewish culture, etc. You know what I'm saying? They're more likely to assimilate with white culture. So that's the reason that they were broken off some bread. And then you can say the Native Americans, they were the $5 Indians and stuff like that. Many of these whites had assimilated into Native American culture. And so, the land and stuff that they gave them is kind of like giving themselves, tax write-offs. it's insidious, meaning it's like it's hidden, it's behind a bunch of closed walls. This stuff is diabolical, you know? So I to surmise that original point before I get to the black perspective, to surmise that original point, there will never be a reckoning of, not in my lifetime, I don't see it. Maybe in my life, maybe when I have grandkids, maybe, maybe. But there will never be a collective reckoning of the silent white majority, because again, their belief is in their divine right to protect their bloodline. That's what this country was founded for, to protect their bloodline. That's what they believe. So since that's what they believe, they'll believe that to their own detriment, which is, which is what's currently happening now, their own detriment. We have been seeing the fall of this country really ever since its inception, ever since universal health care was denied after Lincoln's assassination. Ever since slavery was continued through Jim Crow and the mass production of prison farms and camps, particularly of Black people. Ever since that, we've been on a decline. We've been in a fallen state, as Jesse Lee Peterson, the white nationalist bootlicker, would say. We've been in a fallen state, and the only what's the word? The only solution for this is to continue as if, so everybody got family, right? And we all got family. We all got, we all got different members in our family. We got, this is the auntie that, she can dress, or this is the rich auntie. This is the crazy auntie. And then we all got that one family member where we're like, okay, you're just crazy. And, we know how to deal with that crazy family member. Either we're going to leave you alone, or we're going to, or we're just going to let you just be you. You know what I mean? That's what we need to do in this particular situation. We just need to let these people do them. But the thing about letting these particular group of people do them is that these particular group of people get violent. That's the thing about this particular group of people, is that they get violent. And the problem with violence is, when you have somebody that's willing to get violent or does get violent, the problem with them is that they that's all they understand. That then becomes their language. So how do you turn your eye away from somebody that's willing to hurt you? Well, I would argue that you can't really turn a blind eye to them. You can't. What you do is, in the book of Nehemiah, this is all biblical, I'm relating this to today for this 3:00 episode. I'm gonna get to y'all comments in just a second. Finish this point. What you do is, like in the book of Nehemiah, you rebuild the temple, but you hold a gun in one hand. One hand I got my switch. They had a sword in the book of Nehemiah, but in one hand I got my switch. In the other hand I got my shovel, as I build the country that was built particularly by my group of people, but by everybody, essentially. I keep doing the work that needs to be done to build up the temple for a better place for everybody. I keep doing the work for everybody while I have my gun in my hand, because these group of people are known historically, not previously, but currently are known to be the domestic terrorist group that is the biggest threat to America. The biggest threat to America is not Muslim radicals. The biggest threat to America is not Black nationalism. The biggest threat to America is not homosexuality. The biggest threat to America is, and has always been, the white nationalists. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. The biggest threat to the Western world, the biggest threat to the world has been white nationalists. That's the biggest threat to the world, because of their inferiority and their inferiority complex, and what's the word? Insecurity complex. So you can't turn a complete blind eye to these people, because they'll kill you. So what you do is you outnumber them, in which they already see. These people play offense, not defense. But their what's the word? Their excuse for their behavior is that they're on defense. So what you do is you build the temple, but you do it with a gun in your hand. But then you got the law on their side and stuff like that. So you know, before I get into that, let me read some of y'all comments. As a collective, we absolutely should, but would they? Probably not. I almost forgot what I was talking about, love. You got to remind me. Facts, bro. Rather bite off nose despite the face type of thing. Facts. Facts. When they don't get their way, they choose violence. Facts. I believe it's because these rich fucks are getting their true power from fucking. I just said fucking 5 times from effing bigger forces for sure. And that's exactly that. That's like point D. I'm almost at that point. I'm almost at that point. But to finish, that these people will get violent. That's the thing that makes this conversation difficult. That's the thing that makes progress difficult because of the violent aspect of it. How do you really coexist with somebody that will kill you? Um, the only way to do that is sheer numbers. The only way to do that is outnumbering. But again, when you outnumber somebody like this, this type of thought process is so insidious and so insidiously ingrained into Western society, not even just Western, really all the known world, but it's so ingrained into culture that you really don't know who your enemy is. You don't know if it's your doctor. You don't know if it's your lawyer. You don't know if it's your judge. You don't know if it's that police officer. You don't know if it's your teacher. You don't know if it's the man, your boss. You don't know who your enemy is. So what do you do how can someone fight when you don't know who your enemy is? Well, what you do is you just sit still and your enemy will reveal themselves. So after they reveal themselves, what they continuously do, and this is the thing that I like about Trump's presidency. This is one thing that I like about Trump's presidency. One thing that I like about Trump's presidency is that it is just like COVID, it's revealing the true nature of people. You're either on the side of good or you're on the side of not good. You know what I mean? Either you're on the side of progress or you're on the side of not. Again, I'm not Democrat nor Republican. I think they're both outwardly demonic. But what I am, though, is a proponent of truth. And I'm a proponent of what's best for people. Not just one particular group of people, but what's best for people. So in order to fight tyranny and domestic terrorism, what you have to do is you kind of have to sleep in packs. You got to operate in packs. You got to operate in like a mob mentality because that's what they do. That's what they've been doing. But again, what they don't know is, and this is kind of going to the point that was made earlier by Miss Nikki, is that they don't know that even though they think that they're on the winning team, that they're pawns. They're being used to do the dirty work. That these nepomaniacs would never do for themselves. They would never do this. They would never say this to my face. You know what I mean? These nepomaniacs truly believe that they have the divine right and authority to rule and govern over all people. And they're not just white people who think like this. They're nepomaniacs in all countries that exist, in all ruling classes. They're nepomaniacs. But what happens is white nationalists align themselves with these nepomaniacs because they believe that they're in the same social class as them. And they've never been. They've never been and never will be. So the only answer and the only solution is to organize yourselves amongst yourselves for yourselves. But again, how do you know that I have how do you know if you are friend or foe? The only way we're going to understand if we're a friend or foe with each other is to test by, it's going to have to be a spiritual thing. We're going to have to pray, and you might be like, well, I'm atheist. Well, you, sir, it's kind of like you got to believe in something, you got to believe in something. You got to believe in the great source of all, because there is a great source of all, whether you believe it or not, because there was something before you and then there was something before that, So, and I say prayer because what prayer does, it opens your existential magnetic field, and it allows you to see things that you couldn't necessarily see with your human eyes. It allows you to see things internally through spirit. And that's the only way that you can kind of like determine who people are. That's kind of like advanced wizard talk right there. But that's kind of like what we need to do. Like we all need to like pray together and rebuke each other openly. Like that's the only way that we're gonna understand each other. So I'll read a couple more comments. True, enemies come in all forms. Facts. Transparency is good. All cultures fast for a reason too. Facts. A community-wide fast. That's the only way that we're gonna be able to do this. And let me talk about Trump just a little bit more. I get why people voted for Trump. Like I understand the sentiment as to why people would vote for Trump. Like before, I used to be like, "Yo, are y'all retarded?" You know what I'm saying? Like, only retards would vote for something like this. Like, I felt the same way about the Democratic side. Like, only a retard would vote for something like this. You know? But then, like, I get both sides. Like, so let's talk about the Trump side, for example. Transparency is the main reason that people would vote for Trump unless they're just an outward racist. You know, outside of just being an outward racist, transparency is the main reason and the main thing that makes people want to vote for Trump. Because his whole platform was built on being transparent and doing away with nepo bullshit. But it's like, how a nepo baby gonna tell you that he gonna get away with get rid of nepo babies? That's like a killer telling you that. That's like a thief telling you that he's gonna get rid of all the thieves. You know, so I get why people voted for him, because he ran his platform. His whole thing was, I'm going to be transparent with y'all. Look, I'm coming in this office. I'm gonna let y'all know what's in this office. I'm gonna let y'all know what we're doing from day one. From day one, we're gonna drop a list of pedophiles and murderers and child sex traffickers and rapists and cannibalists. We're gonna drop a list of that in the guise of the Epstein files. And we're gonna let y'all know that that I'm on your side. I'm really anti-government. That's what he ran his platform on, anti-government. And these people took the bait. They took the bait because people have always been what's the dude, the Ringling circus dude? He said this best: a sucker is born every day. A sucker is born every day. People need something to believe in. People need a savior. People need a Christ-like figure. And that's like Christ to these people, because now they're starting to get pissed at him because he's not delivering what he promised. But these people aren't that smart. They aren't so their critical thinking skills are very, very minimal. If they voted for him just for the transparency aspect, again, outside of the let's set aside the racist and ambiguity, however you pronounce that word. Let's set aside that. And let's just assume that you only voted for Trump because of transparency and because you thought he was a good businessman. I would argue that you don't really know business too. But anyways, outside of that too, let's just focus on transparency. He said that he's going to be transparent with you and that he's going to put money and jobs back into American pockets, and he's going to have an American first policies. It doesn't sound that bad when you say it just like that. But what you have to do is, and what you always need to do is, whenever you're dealing with people in power, but particularly with this country, is you got to look behind the veil. You got to look behind the curtains, because when you look behind the curtains, you figure out that Trump himself too is part of the oligarchy that made up America. Trump himself is part of the reason that we don't have free energy and we don't have cars that don't run off of gasoline and natural oils. Trump, and I'm not saying Donald J. Trump, I'm saying the Trump name and family is part of the reason that America is in this shit position. So when you're voting for transparency, you need to think about who's giving you these options. Satan. So you're gonna vote between Satan and Lucifer. That was my whole issue with this whole democratic process is that you want me to choose between Satan and Lucifer. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do any of that because I'm not stupid and I'm not a sheep. And you cannot give me two options of the same coin. Give me some new money. Show me some new money. Show me the other pocket. Because right now you're showing me the same pocket, but two different sides of the pocket. You're showing me this side of the pocket and you show me that side of the pocket. Show me the other pocket. Because I know I have more options than that. I know I do. I know that I do. This is a democratic republic. I know that I do. So I understand why you voted for him in relation to transparency, because he talked a good transparency game. He did. Just like Obama talked a good change game, because it was change. We changed the face of tyranny. That was change. We changed how tyranny looked. We just made it. We just put a little brown face on it. We repackaged it. Don't you like that? Don't you like tyranny with a black face on it? Don't you like that? Huh? Don't you like that? It ain't gotta look like a white man no more. Then the next time, you know what we'll do next time? Next time we'll give you a woman. Don't you like that? We might even make her black. Don't you like that? A tyranny with a black face on it. Don't you like that? You know what? You know what? I'll do even one better. Next time we might even make him Mexican. Oh, I'll do it even better. Next time we might make him gay. Oh, I'll do you even further better. We might make him gay and Mexican. You feel me? But it's gonna be the same face of the same tyranny, just repackaged in a different brand. Because let's go back to the original point. This country was only intended for the upper class. And we have never escaped that. They ask for it. Sometimes silence is power from the ones that do see. Silence is power. And that's why, by and large, my particular ethno group community has been silent in regard to civil rights discussions as in relation to being outside protesting. You know, we've been kind of like chilling on that, you know, and we've been catching flack from other different racial groups, and you've seen other minority groups step up, like the Muslim community and stuff like that. They've been stepping up and kind of having to do their own fighting. And you know what? I'm not against that. You know, not for the purpose of seeing other people hurt, but just for the purpose of just seeing how this plays out. You know, I'm just curious from a sociological standpoint, like how are they going to treat these people? You know, how are these people going to respond when they find out how these people really feel about these people? Will everybody finally understand the black plight then? I don't know. Maybe we're tripping. I don't know. The silence is just a form of deflecting. For every time people see what's going on, it's still an illusion to think we have a choice, and they make us choose between Lucifer or Satan, like you were saying. Yeah. Silence can't only buy me so much credit and so much what's the word? So much time to do this process. Silence historically has only bought me an election. Silence in this case would be relating to silence of our dollars. Silence of our dollars. The silence of our daughters, the daughters, the silence daughters too, but silence of our dollars and how we spend our money is going to be the only way that any type of change will be made that way. And what do I mean? That means no more NFL, no more Sunday Night Football, no more NBA, no more boxing, no more entertainment. Because historically, since Rome, entertainment has been used to deflect. Entertainment has been used to nullify, pacify, shift your attention away from bullshit. That's what entertainment does. No more bread and circuses, correct. No more entertainment. Can you do that? Can y'all do that? Can you handle that? Can you handle that? No more Netflix. I'm pointing at my TV. No more Netflix. No more HBO. No more Diddy documentaries. Nothing. No more. I'm telling you, 6 months of that, the world will change. Starting in America. So, that's not going to happen. So let's talk about something that's actually going to happen. This is how I see it happening and how I see it playing out. The way that I see this playing out, let me say, what was the reason that Lincoln got killed? One of the reasons that Lincoln got killed was because was a few reasons. One, that I'm aware of was one because he was sensitive to a racial conversation, and also he wanted to make universal health care after the slaves refused to return back to their plantations after the Great Slave Flight in the 1800s, in the mid 1800s, because there had been so many slave revolts that the Southerners, along with the plantation owners, were able to keep up with the amount of slaves fleeing and also the slave revolts. So, in order to pacify the country and unify the country through all this back and forth, he was going to give everybody universal health care, and the white majority did not like that, so they killed him. That's one of the main reasons that I'm aware of. Outside of that, he was killed for some other political jargon. You know what I'm saying? Some other political jargon. You know what I'm saying? Some other political jargon. Lincoln was just like a lot of America. He had Moorish ancestry for sure, and he was. They never liked him kind of because of that. They would always talk about his tan skin tone and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying to you guys is that the reason that we go back to my original point, the reason that we're in this declining, fallen state, again, as the white nationalist bootlicker Jesse Lee Peterson would say, the reason that we're in this fallen state is because we've never really had the real conversation with each other, which is that we were never intended nor supposed to, nor will we ever get along, because we were never supposed to get along. This country is going to go into a state of this is what's happening to this country. This country is This country is kind of like becoming like Haiti and Jamaica. And what's happened to Haiti and Jamaica is that foreign interests have assimilated themselves into the society by just buying up the country. So that's what happened to America. America is for sale, has been for sale. Capitalism has been for sale, is for sale, and got bought up by everybody. So you don't really live in America. You live in like America, China, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Mexico, mostly Israel, mostly China. You live in America, Israel, China. That's where you live at right now. You dig? So you're kind of like at this place where it was never intended for everybody to get along. It was never built for anybody else other than the white ruling class. But again, that was never a stable model to build itself on, because there's no stability in that, because again, they've never built anything for themselves by themselves. So you won't be able to maintain that for the perpetuity of your lineage. Again, for future generations, you will never be able to maintain that because it was never maintainable. You know what I'm saying? So this is what, again, to my point of what's going to happen, this is what's going to end up happening. What's going to end up happening is that we're going to keep going into this declining state where certain pockets of our races will clash with each other, and certain pockets of our left and our right will keep going at odds with one another until we reach a boiling point of a national civil crisis. And then when we reach that point of a national civil crisis, not a civil war, but a civil crisis, that's when you're going to have like not the Antichrist, but one of the figures of an Antichrist kind of step in and say, hey, everybody, I got the right idea. Listen to me, follow me, So that's kind of like what we're leading to. Trying to think that I cover all my points. Let me make sure. Trying to make sure I cover all my points. I think I wanted to say one more thing. How do I feel about this country? I love the idea of this country. I love being born in this country. I do not love, well, let me keep talking about what I love first. I love being born in this country. I love the idea of this country. I love the freedoms, the idea of the freedoms that I get in this country. And I love the freedom to just walk around that I have in this country, primarily speaking, on paper. I love the idea of that. What I don't like, though, is I don't like when you have race conversations that other people get tense. I don't like that. I don't like, even my own race included, my own ethnic group included, I don't like how we get tense and how we act like, white people are just like us. People are just like people for sure. And cultures are, if you live in other cultures, you realize that the only thing that separates us is the way that we lay down and fold our clothes and the way that we speak and kind of like the spice that we use in our food. But that's like the only thing that separates us. But what I don't like though is that we act like in this country, in the known world, how we act like everything is just supposed to get better. Everything is just supposed to be normal. Everything is just supposed to be set to the side. That we're just supposed to move on from sin. What you do is you triumph over your past. You do not forget about your past. Nothing successfully is ever done like that. If you play sports, don't forget how you played 100 games ago, 20 games ago, because that all matters how you're playing today. You need to think about that so you don't repeat the mistakes of the past. So that's what I don't like about this country. I don't like that when you have these racial conversations with, I'll start with other races, like how you have racial conversations with other races and they kind of tell blacks to like get over stuff, and like how how we came to this country and we're doing fine. You're doing fine because it was designed for you to pour into through your tax dollars and through your assimilation into white culture. It was designed to you to kind of like outbid the nigger. So that's why you're doing well, and that's why your families are giving these grants and these loans as you come into this country. So I don't like how different races assume that blacks just need to get over things when blacks are the very reason that you're in this country through civil liberties and laws passed through bloodshed. So I don't like that from other races. And then I don't like it on the white side is because whites, the ones I'm talking about will say, you people make everything about race. You people always complain. You people just want a reason to complain, just want somebody to blame. They call it perpetual victimhood. They call it lifelong victimhood. I will grant you that some people use race as an identity of poverty, but I'm using race as a matter of fact. I'm using race as no, race was used in every facet of America, and that's why we're in this position that we are in America, because race has always been the main factor of the decisions and the policies passed in America. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't like when we ignore these conversations on both sides, on both sides. And I will admit that there are definitely some racially prejudiced people on my side of the fence as well, and definitely on the other side of the fence as well. But that being said, the way that we move forward is by talking about what we did yesterday. That's how we move forward. We got to talk about what we did yesterday, because yesterday, boy, you broke in my house and you raped my wife and you cut my balls off, bro, and you ate me. You did that yesterday, and you sold me. You sold my child to the highest bidder, and then you raped him and her. And then when you got done with me, you like a whore in the middle of the night, you kicked me out of the house and you told me, okay, I'm done with you. Go. That's how you did me. So, being that I understand that, let's just not let's not act like that didn't happen. If you can act like that didn't happen, cool, I can have a conversation with you. But if you want to act like that happened so long ago that it has no bearing on today, then I know that you're a fool and that you're willfully retarded. And I don't mean retarded as a pejorative insult. I mean retarded that you're willfully stunting your growth in a particular area because it does not interest you or does not benefit your narrative. Retard. Anyways, y'all, those are just some early day thoughts. I got a show coming up at 6. I'm gonna go ahead and rest for that. But yeah, those just quick thoughts. What y'all think about that? Let's see. Right, trauma is in the blood, and if it's not recognized, it's crazy. Yeah, it's more than crazy. It's insidious at that point. Like for example, I'll just throw a couple points at y'all just to let y'all know how insidious this shit get. Do you know that part of the reason that slavery was justified because they said that blacks had a lower lung capacity. So in order to expand our lung capacity, we need to be out in the field working. I've been working in the railroad. So that's insidious. That was built into the medical system and then has since then been used and passed along for generation. Or another way that by and large, let's see, if we're doing like a if we're doing a data study, I believe it's something like maybe 7 out of 10 women have experienced some form of discrimination or malpractice in the medical system. Black women have experienced this when they have to go for some form of gynecological treatment or otherwise. They've experienced some form of malpractice or mistreatment in the medical system. 7 out of 10. That's not a made up number. That's a real thing. This is something that's insidious and ingrained into America because they don't even know why they're doing it. They just know that that's what they're supposed to do to you because you a nigga. You understand? So you get me. So that's just the way it goes, bro. That's just the way it goes, bro. It's insidious. That is the definition of insidious when you can't see it, but it's ingrained in, like the young lady just said, it's ingrained into your blood. And this is not a hey, look at white America thing. This is a hey, understand white America thing. I get you now. I didn't get you before. I was able to look at you and understand your language because I went to school with you and etc. You know, but I didn't get you. I didn't get the hate. I get it now. It's because you're fragile and you're worried about your numbers. But what you're doing with your fragility is you're digging your own grave. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that as a matter of fact. You're digging your own grave. You're holding on to your own sovereignty so tight that you're losing it naturally by natural selection. And that's unfortunate for you. I agree with you 100%. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you. All of you guys hearing me out. Again, these are just thoughts that I've just recently came to the conclusion of. And I appreciate you guys hearing me out because I'm not the brightest. But when you see so many dots on the paper, you like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like I can't. I'm just sketching what's put right there for me. I'm sketching it. At this point, I'm just tracing. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm just tracing. But anyways, yeah, Lincoln didn't free the slaves. Slaves freed themselves. This country was never built on diversity. This country was built for white upper class. And this country wasn't built for all white men. It was built for white upper class. This country was not founded on Christianity. It was founded actually against Christian beliefs and actually any form of traditional religion. This is not a religious country. It never was, and it never will be per se. Donald Trump didn't hold the Bible upside down when he was talking about the Bible on accident. He has a exact replica of the Holy Grail at his Mar-a-Lago estate. He's aware of these divinity principles, and he also is aware of his own logic. He's a master warlock of the 37th degree. Peep what I'm saying. We're not in this place on accident. There is nothing accidental about now. Now is this a result of not ever cleaning your house and then wondering why you got a dirty ass house that everybody that moved into. Everybody got their shit in the house. You wonder why there's shit everywhere. Because this house wasn't built big enough. It wasn't built on a stable foundation. I got 2 minutes. You're so fucking smart, bro. Facts are facts. You're a leader, a revolutionist, and anointed, so you're good. If you seeing anything that's good in me, ma'am, sir, any of y'all that's gonna be watching this back, that's my God. That's not me. I promise you. I'm quiet. I'll just be sitting back. I just be, I like staying to myself. This is God speaking through me, and this is something that needs to be said now and done now, because if you, so this is where the country's going, guys. Where the country's going is, you got me feeling good, though. I appreciate you. Where the country's going, though, is it's heading to hell. It's turning into Haiti. And the only reason Haiti looks like Haiti is because of colonialism. The only reason Haiti is a shithole of a place. Oh, and that's another thing. I'm glad you said this. This is another thing. It brings me back to the January 6th rioter who was at the Dearborn County City Council meeting with the tactical gear vest on, please go do your own research about who I'm talking about so y'all can know everything I'm talking about today. It'll make so much more sense. But anyways, it brings me back to this because he says that these Muslims are coming. The reason that he doesn't want Muslims in his country, his country, is because they come from these shithole countries. Muslims do. And he's not just talking about Muslims. He's talking about black people, brown. He's talking everybody that's not white. They come from these shithole countries. I've talked about this before, but I'll briefly describe it again. Shithole countries, particularly when we're talking about places where Europe colonialism was and has been. The reason that they're shithole countries is because they took all of the infrastructure out and they shipped it to their own countries because their countries were shitholes. They drained it of its resources and of its properties, and then they sent it back home, and they left the region destitute. And then the leaders that they allowed to be there, that they put in place, were all white identifying black people. Meaning, just because I look like this and I got this black body, I got these nostrils, but I have this European education. So meaning, when I'm gonna spend my dollars, where I'm gonna send my children as an elite of my country and my society, even though I'm not white, but I'm from here. Even though I'm not white, I'm still European indoctrinated, and I'm going to send my money and my resources to Europe, Nigeria, Haiti, Kenya, Uganda, Equatorial New Guinea, all these African nations. Now these African nations, and that's another thing too. J. Edgar Hoover said it best. I'm rambling. Now I'm rambling. But J. Edgar Hoover said it best. There will never be a black Messiah. Another black Messiah like Huey P. Newton or something like that. There will never be that because we'll kill him. So you have had black leaders that understood all of this. This is not a revolutionary thought process. This is understood by people who read. I gotta do is read, but this is understood that colonialism, all they do is take it out, send it to their country, and then put somebody in place who looks like you to govern you, but who has the interest of the colonialists. So we've done that before, but every time that happens, they just end up dead somehow. They just end up dead somehow. Like the former president of Haiti, who was trying to get away from doing deals or any type of interest with Denmark. I'm not sorry, not Denmark, with the American government and stuff like that there. Before 2018, when Haiti just really went to shit, their government was trying to build up their own internal infrastructure like a Burkina Faso, something like that. But then he just ended up dead. He just died somehow. He just got assassinated, they say, by his own people. But somehow, now America is just, for some reason, we have our interest back in Haiti now. This stuff isn't, what I'm saying is, and to that white gentleman who believed that he's talking from the words of God, he's actually an agent of Satan. He's actually an agent of chaos. He's an agent of Lucifer because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand anything. If he does understand it, he's outwardly demonic then. But yeah, he's stupid. That guy's dumb. He doesn't read. And he's the worst part of this country because he's the original sin of this country, which this country was built for people that look like him, but people who are not him. He is not an elite. He would still be sitting outside of the castle, cold as shit, thinking that he's doing better than the niggas outside because he's at least inside of the wall. You dig what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, that is a 3 o'clock special right here. I'm right at about 73. I'm gonna go to 75. If y'all got any questions, comments, or concerns, please go ahead and drop them down right now. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. But I kind of got everything out that I needed to talk about. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe for those of y'all that's gonna be watching this back. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I said everything, bro. I said everything I was thinking. Yeah, Lincoln ain't do nothing for black people. Do you have any takes on Bitcoin? Yeah, man. The thing I like about Bitcoin is that it has what's called a blockchain. That's like the most transparent means of what's the word? Exchange. Because it's kind of like A blockchain meaning, like, for example, if I send you $100,000 for pornography, it's going to be a receipt that says 100,000 pornography going to Mr. Snipe ways. You know what I mean? So it's like it's transparent in that regard. And I think that moving forward, if we don't move completely away from a cash society like it's supposed to be anyway, through conspiracy and through not even conspiracy, just through the way that things are going, and like stuff like Project 2030 and stuff like that. But anyways, if we move towards a cashless society or a partially cashless society, I think people that need to start getting paid in Bitcoin is like our politicians. You know what I mean? Like they need to get paid in Bitcoin so we can see exactly where the transactions go and come from. And like when we do business through our taxes and stuff like that, I think our taxes need to be transferred from a cash value when we pay it into the system to a Bitcoin value. So we see exactly where our tax dollars go. You feel me? So like, I think Bitcoin is good for that. But other than that, Bitcoin is like kind of more in line with the digital ID system and the increased surveillance of my of me. And I don't necessarily agree with that. You know what I mean? Bitcoin is like, digital ID and Bitcoin is kind of like leading to like the mark of the beast where you want to put a chip in my body, Neuralink, or a different version of Neuralink. And I'm so against you putting anything in my body without, you know, you know, even though I had to take the shot, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that's what I think about that, y'all. Well, anyways, y'all, I love y'all with the love of Christ. I'll see y'all next time, Lord willing. I'll see you at 6. I'll see you in a couple hours. So I'll see you in a bit. Peace.